Perhaps because she has money, she's able to take care of that child. How did you get around from, that very first time that you hear that your son has cerebral palsy and growing to accepting him that way?
It was devastating. It was terrible. You live in denial for a long time. And then, because we are Nigerians, we attach religious and sentiments to it. I reject it in Jesus' name.
1 second, you just hold your thoughts. We have a caller from Kebbi State, Makira. Hello, Makira.
Makira? Okay, I think you have to try again. You were saying something about people rejecting, the situation.
Yes, a lot of times. You go through these things, rejection, denial, you don't want to accept it. I went through all that, and at the end of the day, you come to acceptance. And then you now start saying, now what? What do I do? I was able to get to this stage because I have a loving husband. From day one, he accepted his son. He was in denial for a long time too, And because we're Christians, some people, even if you're Muslim, say, oh no, this is not my portion. I reject it and And then we start going round and round, but we didn't because we realized that we have to help our son. So we took him all over the world. My husband was an instructor pilot, so anywhere the Air Force was sending him, I'll pack my bags and go, thinking, went to India, went to Germany, went to Britain, went to America, everywhere, just to see. But anywhere we go, they will tell you, cerebral palsy, there's no cure. You just have to manage it. And we went through all that. But because from day one, after we had accepted our situation, we just decided to help our son.
Maybe we should just backtrack a little and talk about what cerebral palsy itself is. It has to do with the brain, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, what did the doctors tell you about cerebral palsy?
When I had my son, I was told he didn't cry. I had him at 34 weeks gestation, and that it took him over an hour to cry. And because of the lack of oxygen, loss of oxygen to the brain, that was why about 6 months later, he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. I had him in Kano. I had to bring him to Lagos. My husband was a group captain then, so he was posted to Lagos. So December 1996, I packed my bags and my 2 older boys. We moved to Lagos. So we went to see a neurologist, and that was when the scan was done. Of course, he told us that he has cerebral palsy and that there's no cure. You should not bother to take him anywhere. But we didn't accept it. We didn't accept it. So we continued, to search for cures. And that was when we went to Germany. When he was 6 months old, I had to take him to Germany. I spent 6 months, there trying to see if the diagnosis would be different, or they would tell me, oh, you can do this, but the same thing, just management. You just have to manage the condition. Because of the lack of oxygen to the brain at the point of birth, and because it was premature, and in Nigeria, medical, whatever, but that was what happened. And everywhere we went, that's it.
So it has to do with brain damage.
Brain damage. But the section of the brain that controls movement and posture is affected. Like Dada here, it's only when he gets up and he wants to walk that you see that his walking is a little bit. These are the lucky ones. Some are completely, they cannot walk, they cannot talk, because most of the organs that control posture, movement, and the tongue is destroyed.
Once again, please hold on. Okereke from River State. Hello, Okereke.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Okay, please, can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. Please turn down the volume of your TV.
Okay. Are you there?
Yes, we're
Yes,
here.
go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes,
Go
we
ahead
can
with
hear
your
you.
question or comment. We can hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Oh,
Okay, I think
we'll get back to it.
the lines will have to be sorted out.
Mr. Badibo, beyond palsy, yes, your son has palsy, but beyond palsy, you've had to deal with other people with disability. We've talked about, Mr. Badibo has talked about the support of the family. He's talked about the stigma and how you almost committed suicide. What has been your observation through the years? Because from your son, you've had to work with other people.
Like I said, you see, when you have a child with a disability, you actually work with the information given to you by the doctor. And so we worked for 16 years with the information that cerebral palsy is just caused by birth asphyxia. But then, as we started to look around, we started to see that there were more serious problems in this country compared to that is not inclusive. So it makes people who have disabilities to feel that they are not part of a society. And so even when you have graduates like Dada, a lot of them, you see, they go through that process of trying to prove that they can be normal, that they can fit in with the normal society. And the family spend money, they get trained, and then they can't get a job because the job environment is not receptive. So there's also frustration at the end of the day. So we started to do something about it. And in the process, we got to understand that, you see, disability is so wide. It starts from a child not being normal, quote unquote. And then the parents go through a lot of test denials and all before you begin to determine exactly what the issues are. And you even have some children like that I just mentioned who can get to 20, 30, 40 years with parents having problems coping with this child, not knowing what the issues are. Before, if they're lucky, with the right test, with the right analysis, they now know that, oh, he did have a problem, or he does have a problem. But a lot of parents have lost children, or children have falling apart from their parents because they're not meeting expectations of the parents. So there's a lot that we need to understand about disability. And there's not a lot that's why I said at the beginning, this country needs to understand disability, where it spreads. You see, everybody, each of us, we're all disabled. It's just that some people, like my friend Nato here, yeah, he's wearing glasses. Okay? With technology, he can see. People have asthma. Some people are diabetic. A lot of people have high blood pressure. With management, they can cope. But without management, which is what happens to the very average poor person, then he cannot cope, he falls apart. And when it's invisible, like asthma and diabetics and so on, he will not be able to do certain things. And what do Nigerians say? He's forming. You understand? And if he tries to push himself, then he suddenly drops dead. I've had friends, I've had colleagues who were discovered as being, asthmatic at 30, 40, collapsing in a room. Because all along, they used to have shortness of breath. They used to do certain things, but they didn't know what it was. We're not even doing medical tests. We're not doing follow-ups. You understand what I'm saying? And because of stigma, parents hide that child that is not doing well, focusing instead on the child that is doing well. So you'll see 3, 4 children, and they always talk of Mike. They also talk of Jane, and they don't talk of the others. A lot of our parents, upwardly mobile, send kids to expensive schools. They're too busy to really figure out what's going on. They want the teachers to fix those kids. But you see, it's the parents that need to understand the child and help that child to bring out whatever potential. Like my wife said, there is ability in disability. Every disability opens a door for other potentials. So if you think your child is supposed to be a doctor and the child is supposed to be a painter, if you don't leave that issue of medicine and focus of drawing or painting or music that the child wants, you will lose a potential star in your family.
Okay, now let's talk about this inclusion matter. talking about empowering people with disabilities. In what areas do you think the government, the society can help? Maybe I should ask Dada himself.
Well, I'll start from channels. Channels can help by...
Dada, please, just 1 second.
Okay.
Let's hear from our correspondent, Larry Lasisi in Kogi State. Hello, Larry. Larry, what's your situation now? How's the accreditation exercise going? Okay, we had him there and we've lost him, but Dada, go ahead.
Okay, I'll start with the media, but let me say channels, because that's my favorite channel.